Welcome, crime enthusiasts, to another captivating episode of Forgotten True Crime. I'm your host, Trevor Shelby, and today we're embarking on a journey through time to uncover a long-forgotten case that will send shivers down your spine. In this episode, we're not only diving into the annals of true crime, but also returning to my roots in the great state of Oklahoma. That's right. It's time for another thrilling installment of our Okie Investigation series. Picture this. The year is 1933. As the nation grapples with the aftermath of the Great Depression, a series of remarkable events unfold. The construction of the iconic Golden Gate Bridge begins, capturing the imagination of a nation. The Lone Ranger gallops onto the airwaves, becoming a beloved radio sensation, and in March, Franklin D. Roosevelt takes the oath of office, stepping into his role as the 32nd President of the United States. But amidst these historic moments, there's one event that may surprise you. In the very same year, the first Krispy Kreme donut shop opens its doors in Nashville, Tennessee. Who would have thought that this beloved brand has been tantalizing taste buds for nearly a century? However, our focus today is not on the sweet indulgences of Krispy Kreme, but rather on a chilling true crime case that has been lost to time. So, buckle up and prepare yourself for a journey into the darkest corners of human nature. Before we begin, a word of caution. The following program contains descriptions of graphic topics, including murder and kidnapping. Listener discretion is strongly advised. The date is Tuesday, March 28th, 1933, and the small town of Cheyenne, Oklahoma is about to be forever changed by the events that are about to unfold. As the clock strikes 10 p.m., Jack Leary, the owner of the local Conoco gas station, begins his nightly routine of closing up shop. The sky above is illuminated by flashes of lightning, a foreboding sign of the storm that is rapidly approaching. With the day's earnings safely tucked away in the bank deposit bag, Jack locks the doors and makes his way to his car. But before heading home, Jack decides to make a quick stop at the corner drugstore to pick up a few essentials. As he enters the store, he spots a familiar face, 16-year-old R.L. Trammell, a young man who lives just a block away from Jack's own residence. The two exchange friendly greetings, and Jack, ever mindful of the impending storm, kindly offers the young man a ride home. R.L. Trammell gratefully accepts, and after Jack makes his purchase, a magazine to pass the time, the two gather in Jack's car and set off towards Trammell's home. The rain begins to pelt against the windshield as they navigate the darkened streets of Cheyenne. Upon arriving at Trammell's house, the young man opens the car door and steps out into the stormy night. As he does so, Jack calls out something from the driver's seat, but his words are lost in the howling wind. Trammell, not quite catching what was said, starts to make his way back to the car to ask Jack to repeat himself, but before he can reach the vehicle, Jack suddenly drives off, disappearing into the rain-soaked darkness. Little does R.L. Trammell know that this brief encounter will be the last time anyone sees Jack Leary alive. As the storm rages on, the town of Cheyenne is blissfully unaware that a mystery is about to unfold, one that will leave the community shaken to its core and searching for answers in the face of an unthinkable tragedy. As dawn breaks over Cheyenne, the storm has finally subsided, leaving behind a scene of tranquility. A group of school children, their laughter echoing through the hills, make their way to their morning classes. With each step, they gleefully splash in the puddles that dot the road, their youthful innocence a stark contrast to the grim discovery that awaits them. As they navigate the winding path, a peculiar sight catches their attention in the distance. There, in the middle of a field, sits a car, smoke billowing from its charred remains. The children, their curiosity piqued, dare not approach the vehicle, fearing the consequences of meddling in unknown affairs. It isn't until later that afternoon, as the children are released from school, that the gravity of the situation begins to unfold. One of the boys, his conscience weighing heavily upon him, decides to confide in Dick Strickland, a well-known figure in the community. Mr. Strickland, a pillar of the local Rosedale Alumni Association, is no stranger to the children. His remarkable portrayal of Solomon Spigot in the recent production of The Hoodoo and his active involvement with the local Christian church have endeared him to the young ones. These details, preserved in the social sections of the era's newspapers, paint a picture of a man deeply connected to his community. Intrigued by the boy's account, Mr. Strickland takes it upon himself to investigate the mysterious car. He drives out to the location described by the children, his mind racing with possibilities. As he arrives at the scene, he is greeted by the sight of the burnt-out vehicle. Its interior looked as if it were ravaged by flames, yet miraculously spared from complete destruction by the previous night's rainfall. With each step, his feet sink into the muddy ground, the sloshing sound a haunting accompaniment to his growing unease. As he approaches the car, a chilling sight stops him dead in his tracks. There, protruding from the driver's side window, is a hand, a grim testament to the tragedy that has unfolded. Steeling himself, Mr. Strickland inches closer, his heart pounding in his chest. He confirms his worst fears. The person inside the vehicle is no longer alive. With trembling hands, he jots down the license plate number, a crucial piece of evidence that may hold the key to unraveling this mystery. Overwhelmed by the weight of his discovery, Mr. Strickland hurries back to his car, his pace quickening with each step. He knows that he must report this to the authorities immediately. As he speeds away from the scene, the gravity of the situation begins to sink in. A life has been lost, and the once peaceful town of Cheyenne is about to be plunged into a web of mystery and tragedy. As Mr. Strickland bursts into the Cheyenne Sheriff's office, his face etched with urgency, he is greeted by the steady gaze of J.M. Bradshaw, the local sheriff. Bradshaw, a seasoned lawman, listens intently as Strickland recounts the chilling discovery, the burned-out car, the license plate, and the lifeless hand protruding from the driver's side window. Without hesitation, Sheriff Bradshaw springs into action. He meticulously records the details provided by Strickland, his pen scratching against the paper as he jots down the location of the car and the crucial license plate number. Recognizing the gravity of the situation, Bradshaw wastes no time in contacting Carl A. Bevan, the county attorney. Over the phone, Bradshaw relays the unsettling information to Bevan, his voice laden with concern. Bevan, understanding the urgency of the matter, assures the sheriff that he will meet him at the scene without delay. Next, Sheriff Bradshaw reaches out to the Cheyenne Police Department. He provides them with the license plate number, hoping that this vital piece of information will either help identify the victim or provide valuable leads in the early stages of the investigation. As Sheriff Bradshaw arrives at the remote field where the burned out car rests, he takes in the somber scene before him. The once vibrant grass is now marred by the charred remains of the vehicle, a stark reminder of the tragedy that has unfolded. Bradshaw notes the soft, rain-soaked ground surrounding the car, and as he searches for any telltale tracks, he realizes with dismay that the storm has erased any potential evidence. Moments later, Carl Bevan arrives at the scene, his presence a welcome sight to the sheriff. Together, they approach the car, their steps heavy with trepidation. As they peer inside the scorched interior, their eyes are drawn to the victim's hand, which extends lifelessly from the driver's side window. Despite the extensive damage to the body, Carl Bevan makes a curious observation. The victim's hand, exposed to the elements, has remained relatively unscathed by the flames. Upon closer examination, they notice a wristwatch still adorning the victim's wrist, a potential key to identifying the deceased. As they inspect the hand further, another peculiar detail catches their attention. One of the fingernails is deformed, a distinctive characteristic that may prove crucial in unraveling the mystery. With each new discovery, the weight of the investigation grows heavier on the shoulders of Sheriff Bradshaw and Carl Bevan. They know that every piece of evidence, no matter how small, could hold the key to bringing justice to the victim and closure to the community of Cheyenne. As the local medical examiner arrives at the scene, a somber atmosphere descends upon the gathered officials. With meticulous care, they begin the grim task of removing the body from the charred remains of the vehicle. As they work, a discovery is made. The victim's pockets yield a meager collection of nickels and dimes. The sheriff wonders out loud that this is something that would have been taken if this were a simple highway robbery. Just as the medical examiner and his team are finishing their initial assessment, a group of Cheyenne police officers arrive on the scene, ready to lend their support to the sheriff's department in the investigation. They bring with them a crucial piece of information. The burned-out car belongs to a man named Jack Leary. With this revelation, the puzzle pieces begin to fall into place. Is Jack the victim? Sheriff Bradshaw wastes no time in assigning duties to the newly arrived officers. He instructs them to secure the scene, ensuring that no curious onlookers or potential evidence tamperers interfere with the investigation. Before departing the scene, Sheriff Bradshaw and Attorney Bevan conduct a thorough search of the car, hoping to uncover any clues that might shed light on the circumstances surrounding Jack Leary's untimely demise. Despite their best efforts, they find no weapon or any other indication of the motive behind this heinous act. The scorched interior of the vehicle yields no immediate answers, leaving them with more questions than solutions. As they step away from the car, Sheriff Bradshaw and Attorney Bevan exchange a knowing glance. They understand that this is just the beginning of a long and arduous investigation. The wet and soggy conditions of the field present a unique challenge. It may be some time before they can safely remove the car from the scene for a more detailed examination. With heavy hearts, they prepare to leave, their minds already racing with the next steps in the investigation. They know that every minute counts in a case like this, and they are determined to leave no stone unturned in their pursuit of justice for the victim. As the sun sets on the horizon, casting long shadows across the town of Cheyenne, Sheriff Bradshaw makes his way to the home of Jack Leary. The weight of the news he carries sits heavily upon his shoulders as he approaches the door, knowing that the words he is about to speak will forever change the life of the woman who resides within. Nellie Leary, Jack's mother, answers the door, her face etched with worry and confusion. She confirms that her son has been missing since the previous night, but she holds out hope that perhaps he has simply been delayed by some unforeseen circumstance. After all, there have been occasions when Jack has returned home in the late hours of the night. The sheriff gently probes further, asking about the watch Jack wore and the distinctive deformity on his finger. Nellie's confirmation of these details only solidifies the grim reality that Sheriff Bradshaw must now convey. With a heavy heart, he breaks the news to her. He believes that her beloved son is dead. The impact of his words is immediate and devastating. Nellie Leary's world shatters before her very eyes, her heart torn asunder by the unimaginable loss of her child. Through her tears, she pleads with the sheriff, begging him to find those responsible and bring them to justice. Little does she know that the path to answers will be a long and arduous one, fraught with challenges and heartache. As dawn breaks the next morning on March 30th, a new development emerges in the case. The sheriff receives word that the victim, who had been transported to Elk City for an immediate autopsy, had been shot with a .38 caliber revolver just below his right eye. The report also reveals that Jack had suffered a severe blow to the back of his head, suggesting a brutal attack. Armed with this new information, Sheriff Bradshaw decides to revisit the crime scene. With the car now removed, he hopes that additional evidence may come to light, shedding further light on the circumstances surrounding Jack Leary's untimely demise. As the sheriff arrives at the scene, he begins to scour the area where the car once rested. Assisted by the officers who have been keeping a watchful eye on the location, they make a startling discovery: a .38 caliber revolver lying on the ground exactly where the car had been. Upon closer inspection, they find that the gun is missing a single bullet. The discovery of the weapon sends a chill down Sheriff Bradshaw's spine. The pieces of the puzzle are beginning to fall into place, but the picture they paint is one of violence and tragedy. The revolver, with its missing bullet, holds the key to unlocking the truth behind Jack Leary's murder. As the sheriff carefully retrieves the gun, his mind races with the implications of this new evidence. The investigation has taken a significant step forward, but he knows that there is still much work to be done. The killer remains at large, and it falls upon him and his team to bring them to justice. With renewed determination, Sheriff Bradshaw prepares to delve deeper into the mystery surrounding Jack Leary's death. The people of Cheyenne, and most importantly, Nellie Leary, deserve nothing less than the full measure of justice. As the investigation into Jack Leary's murder unfolds, Sheriff Bradshaw quickly realizes that he will need additional resources to unravel the intricate web of mystery surrounding the case. Without hesitation, he reaches out for assistance, and his call is swiftly answered. Claude Roper, a seasoned officer from Beckham County, Oklahoma, joins the investigation, bringing with him a wealth of experience and a keen eye for detail. Alongside him, detectives from the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigations arrive on the scene, ready to lend their expertise to the complex case. Over the course of the next few days, the expanded team works tirelessly to piece together the final hours of Jack Leary's life. They delve into the details of the money he was carrying, believed to be around $100, a significant sum for the time. The detectives also track down and interview 16-year-old R.L. Trammell, the young man who had been given a ride home by Jack on the fateful night of his death. Trammell's account provides a crucial piece of the puzzle, offering insight into Jack's movements and interactions in the hours leading up to his untimely demise. The detectives meticulously document every detail, hoping that even the smallest clue might lead them closer to the truth. Despite the extra manpower and the promising leads, the weeks begin to stretch on with little progress. The investigation seems to have hit a wall, and the lack of a clear motive only deepens the mystery surrounding Jack's murder. The people of Cheyenne, once hopeful for a swift resolution, start to whisper among themselves, dubbing the case the perfect crime. As the days turn into weeks, the pressure mounts on Sheriff Bradshaw and his team. The community's faith in their ability to solve the case begins to waver, and the weight of their responsibility grows heavier with each passing day. But the sheriff refuses to give up, knowing that justice for Jack Leary and closure for his mother Nellie depend on their unwavering determination. Behind closed doors, the investigators pore over every scrap of evidence, re-examining witness statements and scouring the crime scene for any overlooked clues. They work tirelessly, fueled by the knowledge that somewhere, hidden within the tangled web of information, lies the key to unlocking the truth. As the investigation stretches on, the people of Cheyenne are left to grapple with the unsettling realization that a killer walks among them, their identity shrouded in secrecy. The once peaceful town finds itself gripped by fear and uncertainty. As neighbors begin to cast suspicious glances at one another, wondering who among them could be capable of such a heinous act. As the investigation into Jack Leary's murder progresses, a new lead emerges that catches Sheriff Bradshaw's attention. Reports surface that Jack had been seen in the company of two individuals well known to local authorities, Scott Steer and Virgil Kuhn. These names set off alarm bells in the minds of the investigators, as Steer and Kuhn have a reputation for their involvement in gambling and troublemaking. Exactly 1 month after Jack's tragic demise, on April 28th, the Cheyenne police make a bold move and arrest both Steer and Kuhn. At this stage, the evidence linking them to the crime is tenuous at best, but the authorities are determined to leave no stone unturned in their pursuit of justice. The two men are separated and subjected to intense questioning. As the interrogation unfolds, the investigators' suspicions begin to grow stronger with each passing moment. The evasive responses and inconsistencies in Steer and Kuhn's statements fuel the belief that they either possess vital information about the murder or are directly responsible for the heinous act themselves. Under the relentless pressure of the interrogation, Steer and Kuhn cling to a single alibi. They claim to have been in the company of W. Preston Cook on the night of Jack's murder. They assert that Mr. Cook can vouch for their whereabouts, providing them with a potential lifeline in the face of mounting suspicion. The authorities waste no time in tracking down W. Preston Cook to verify the men's story. To their surprise, not only does Mr. Cook corroborate Steer and Kuhn's account, but also the daughter of Mr. Steer, 22-year-old Blanche Steer, steps forward to confirm that the men were indeed at their house on the night in question. Despite the apparent strength of the alibi, the investigators can't shake the feeling that something doesn't quite add up. The pieces of the puzzle seem to fit together a little too neatly, and the authorities can't help but wonder if there's more to the story than meets the eye. However, without concrete evidence to contradict the alibi, the authorities have no choice but to release Steer and Kuhn from custody. The frustration is palpable as they watch the two men walk free, knowing that the truth may still be lurking just beneath the surface. Before letting them go, the authorities issue a stern warning to the Cook family. They make it abundantly clear that if any part of their story is found to be a fabrication, the consequences will be severe. The weight of the law will come down upon them with full force, ensuring that justice will be served one way or another. As Steer and Kuhn disappear into the night, Sheriff Bradshaw and his team are left to grapple with the setback. The investigation seems to have hit yet another wall, but they refuse to let this deter them from their mission. They know that the key to unlocking the mystery surrounding Jack Leary's murder is still out there, waiting to be discovered. 9 long years have passed since the tragic murder of Jack Leary, and the case has grown cold, the trail of clues seemingly leading nowhere. But on a fateful day in September 1941, a flicker of hope emerges as Blanche Steer walks through the doors of the Cheyenne Police Department, a heavy burden weighing on her soul. With a trembling voice, Blanche confesses to the authorities that back in 1933 she had lied to investigators when questioned about the whereabouts of Butch Kuhn and Scott Steer on the night of Jack's murder. She reveals that she was instructed to provide a false alibi for the men, claiming they were with her at the time of the crime. Blanche had carried this secret for years, the weight of the lie growing heavier with each passing day. Despite the warnings she received about the consequences of lying, Blanche's conscience has finally caught up with her. She no longer wants to be shackled by the burden of her deceit, and she is ready to face the repercussions of her actions. With a heavy heart, she admits that she had no knowledge of the men's true whereabouts on that fateful night. Armed with this new information, the authorities spring into action. They track down Preston Cook, who had also provided an alibi for Kuhn and Steer. In a swift move, they arrest both Cook and his wife, bringing them to Cheyenne for questioning. For hours, the investigators relentlessly interrogate Mr. Cook, determined to uncover the truth that has eluded them for so long. Under the intense pressure of the interrogation, Preston Cook's resolve crumbles, and he makes a shocking confession. He reveals that on the night of March 28th, 1933, he, Butch Kuhn, and Scott Steer arrived at his house in Cheyenne between sundown and dark. Cook joined them in their car, and together they drove northwest of Cheyenne, where they encountered the parked car of Jack Leary. Inside the car, they found Leary and Claude Anderson. According to Cook's confession, Kuhn entered the car with Anderson and Leary, and they all drove to the location where Leary's car was later discovered on March 29th. In a chilling revelation, Cook admits that Leary was already dead when they arrived, but at the insistence of Steer, Cook himself shot Leary. The 3 men then pressured Cook into pouring oil on Leary's body, and he later witnesses the car engulfed in flames. With this explosive testimony, the pieces of the puzzle finally fall into place. The authorities waste no time in apprehending Butch Kuhn, Scott Steer, and Claude Anderson. The long-awaited break in the case has arrived, and the prospect of justice for Jack Leary and his family seems closer than ever. As news of the arrest spreads throughout Cheyenne, The community is left reeling from the revelations. The once peaceful town is forced to confront the dark secrets that have lurked in the shadows for nearly a decade. The people of Cheyenne grapple with the realization that the men they once trusted and believed in were capable of such a heinous act. Sheriff Bradshaw and his team, who have tirelessly pursued justice for Jack Leary, now have the evidence they need to bring the culprits to trial. The long road to the truth has been paved with countless hours of investigation, false leads, and dead ends, but their perseverance has finally paid off. As the trial looms on the horizon, the people of Cheyenne hold their collective breath, eager to see justice served and to finally put this dark chapter of their history behind them. The memory of Jack Leary, the young man whose life was so brutally cut short, will forever be etched in the hearts and minds of the community. As the trial of Preston Cook begins, the people of Cheyenne fill the courtroom, eager to witness justice being served for the murder of Jack Leary. The air is thick with anticipation, the community's hopes pinned on the confession that had finally brought the case to light after 9 long years. But in a twist that no one could have foreseen, Preston Cook takes the stand in January 1942 and delivers a bombshell revelation. With a steady voice, he proclaims that the confession he had previously made was a complete fabrication. The courtroom erupts in a chorus of gasps and murmurs as the shocking truth sinks in. Cook had lied about his involvement and the involvement of Butch Kuhn, Scott Steer, and Claude Anderson in Jack Leary's murder. The prosecution, once confident in their case, is left reeling from this unexpected turn of events. Without Cook's confession, the foundation of their case crumbles, leaving them scrambling to find alternative evidence to support their charges. But as the trial unfolds, it becomes increasingly clear that without Cook's testimony, there is little to tie the other 3 men to the crime. Faced with this harsh reality, the court has no choice but to dismiss the murder charges against Kuhn, Steer, and Anderson. The lack of concrete evidence leaves the prosecution with no legal grounds to hold them accountable for Jack Leary's death. The men, once the prime suspects in the case, walk out of the courtroom as free men, their innocence presumed in the eyes of the law. The ripple effect of Cook's recanted confession extends to his own trial as well. With the prosecution's case in shambles and no other evidence to present, the court is left with no alternative but to acquit Preston Cook of the murder charges. The man who had once confessed to his involvement in the crime now stands vindicated, his freedom secured by the very lies he had previously told. As the trials come to a close, the people of Cheyenne are left grappling with a profound sense of disillusionment and frustration. The hope for justice that had burned so brightly just a short while ago has been extinguished, leaving behind a void that cannot be filled. The community, once united in their pursuit of the truth, now finds itself divided and uncertain, their faith in the legal system shaken to its core. For the family of Jack Leary, the acquittal of the suspects is a bitter pill to swallow. The years of waiting, the glimmer of hope that had emerged with Cook's confession, have all been for naught. The pain of their loss, still raw after nearly a decade, is compounded by the realization that justice may never be served, that the truth behind Jack's murder may forever remain a mystery. Sheriff Bradshaw and his team, who had poured their hearts and souls into the investigation, are left to grapple with the weight of this setback. The countless hours they had dedicated to the case, the sleepless nights spent chasing leads and piecing together the puzzle, now feel like a distant memory. They are forced to confront the harsh reality that sometimes, despite their best efforts, justice can be an elusive and fleeting thing. As the dust settles and life in Cheyenne begins to move forward, the shadow of Jack Leary's unsolved murder continues to loom large over the town. The unanswered questions, the lingering doubts, and the knowledge that a killer may still walk among them will forever haunt the community. A reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of even the most seemingly peaceful places. And so the case of Jack Leary remains a mystery, a testament to the fragility of truth and the limits of human justice. The people of Cheyenne are left to carry on, their hearts heavy with the weight of the unknown, forever changed by the events that have unfolded. The memory of Jack Leary, the young man whose life was so tragically cut short, will forever be etched in the collective consciousness of the town. A reminder of the unfinished business that may never find its resolution. As we come to the end of this perplexing and tragic case, I'm left wondering, just like many of you, what really happened on that fateful night in March 1933. The truth, it seems, may forever be lost to time, buried beneath layers of lies, recanted confessions, and unanswered questions. But that doesn't mean we should stop seeking answers. I invite each and every one of you to visit our Facebook page, Forgotten True Crime, where we will have a dedicated post for this particular case. Share your thoughts, theories, and insights with our community of true crime enthusiasts. Let's come together and see if we can shed some new light on this enduring mystery. For those of you who want to dive even deeper into the details of this case, I encourage you to visit our website, truecrime.blog. There you'll find a wealth of information, including the numerous reports and documents we uncovered during our research. These primary sources were invaluable in helping us piece together the story of Jack Leary's murder and the subsequent trials that followed. As you explore these resources, keep in mind that parts of the story we've presented today have been embellished to create a more cohesive narrative. When dealing with crimes that occurred nearly a century ago, we often face the challenge of filling in the gaps left by the passage of time and the absence of living witnesses. However, I assure you that the core facts of the case, as documented in the historical records, remain true and unchanged. Before we sign off, I want to take a moment to express my gratitude to each and every one of you for joining us on this journey into the past. Your support and dedication to uncovering the truth behind these forgotten crimes is what keeps us going, even in the face of the most baffling and frustrating cases. So until next time, keep searching for answers, keep seeking justice, and never let the stories of the forgotten fade away. Together, we can ensure that the victims of these long-ago crimes are never truly lost to history. This is Trevor Shelby, signing off from Forgotten True Crime and Okie Investigations. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you all next time.